2023 BMW X1 Review. Bigger means more practical. The 2023 BMW X1 is the beneficiary of a major redesign, as the crossover gets bigger inside and out. Unfortunately, the 9/1 electric version is still not part of BMW's plans for Canada. What's new for the 2023 BMW X1? So BMW's smallest crossover has grown. In fact, a glance at the specifications shows that the new model approaches the exterior dimensions of the very first X3, launched in the mid-2000s. BMW has also expanded its range to include the all-electric 9/1, but as mentioned, this variant will not be offered on this side of the Atlantic for now. Meanwhile, the X1 we do have retains its 4-cylinder, turbocharged powertrain, but swaps the old 8-speed automatic transmission for a sportier 7-speed dual-clutch unit. But that's not all. The interior has undergone a metamorphosis in line with the updates given other models flying the German brand's banner. Particularly noteworthy is the vast panel on the dash featuring 2 screens, including the touch-sensitive one in the middle. Take note, the 2023 BMW X1 xDrive 28i is the only variant currently available in Canada. Exterior design of the 2023 BMW X1, 8 out of 10. Pending a complete redesign of the coupe-style twin of the X1, the X2, the BMW X1 is larger in every sense of the word, which explains why it almost looks like an X3 of 20 years ago. The front end is particularly imposing, with a grille that would have no trouble fitting on a 7 Series. However, the edges of the grille's 2 kidneys are sharper than in the past. The same applies to the lower section of the front fascia. Even the headlamp cutout respects this philosophy. The model we tested in early spring was fitted with 18-inch diameter winter wheels, but know that for the summer season, the vehicle comes with 20-inch wheels, a first for the little X1. Taller and more massive, the X1 is closer to the size of a compact SUV, and it shows when you take a little stroll around it. Although we didn't have to wield a snow brush during our week's test drive, we can confirm that the roof is higher and that it will be more difficult to clear snow from the X1. Finally, the rear end's bumper copies the design of the front bumper. The parking lights have also been given a sharper design, with the red crescent standing out squarely on the flanks. Interior of the 2023 BMW X1, July 5, 10. The increased dimensions of the vehicle are good for the interior. The X1 remains a smaller SUV, but the greater interior volume is undoubtedly one of the model's major improvements for 2023. The automaker is rightly renowned for equipping its vehicles with comfortable seats that provide sufficient support for more playful drives, and the new X1 is no exception. Now, there's quite a gap between the X1 and an X7 in terms of high-end comfort, but within its class, the brand's new pocket-sized SUV has nothing to be ashamed of. Technology and safety in the 2023 BMW X1, 8/10. The X1 is the latest BMW model to receive the dual curved screen, even if its shape differs from that installed during earlier model updates. The responsiveness and clarity of the graphics are at their best. It's true that there are many applications in the infotainment system, but you eventually get used to it. The center console proved to be a nice surprise, with its easy-to-use small lever connected to the transmission, as well as a wheel for the audio system volume and driving modes. Driving the 2023 BMW X1, August 5, 10. Although based on a car architecture, the X1 crossover doesn't offer the same handling as the brand's sedans and coupes. But it comes close, or as close as you can with the higher center of gravity that comes with the SUV format. We can expect the future X2, with its coupe SUV silhouette, to be sharper in this respect. The driving experience begins with a more upright driving position than expected. This is partly due to the floating center console, where many common and essential controls are grouped together for fingertip operation. However, the driver's seat also gives the impression of sitting higher up. While this improves peripheral vision, in terms of driving pleasure, you're not on the level of a 2 or 3 Series car, for example. Body roll is thus a little more pronounced in tight corners, although to be clear, the X1 is very reassuring, thanks in no small part to its tried-and-tested AWD system. On the other hand, with 20-inch summer wheels, the X1 is likely to be sportier in its handling. With our winter tires mounted on 18-inch wheels, the X1 wasn't quite so surgical. The reworked powertrain is well suited to the X1's chassis, and the dual-clutch transmission adds a hint of sportiness with its more expeditious gear changes. The steering could be more precise, or at least heavier at sustained speeds. But then, you have to figure an M livery is already in the pipeline that will improve that, although it's quite possible that only the next X2 will get an M. With more rubber around the rims and an overall focus turned more to comfort than to sportiness, the BMW X1 proved gentle enough to withstand the bumpy roads of Quebec's spring season. As mentioned, the seats are comfortable and offer enough support for longer, more playful rides. Fuel consumption of the 2023 BMW X1, 0.8. With a combined average of 8.4 L/100 km according to Canadian Energuide, the BMW X1 isn't too fuel-hungry. In the city, the federal department reports a rating of 9.6 L/100 km, on the highway, the figure is 7.0 L/100 km. For my part, I recorded an average of 9.1 L/100 km, a result undoubtedly linked to the milder weather during this week's test drive. And by driving the crossover more calmly, it's relatively easy to maintain a reasonable fuel consumption rating.
Thanks for watching. Drop a like, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe to watch more videos like this.